Going on to you, Taurus. So you have the Hanged Man, the Hierophant, which is Taurus. So you showed up in your own reading. Then you have the Ace of Cups, the King of Swords, the Eight of Cups, the High Priestess, the Moon, the Queen of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands, and the Fool. So a lot of you Taurus are actually doing the Taurus thing right now. I just see that you're in a situation where you see the Hanged Man, the Hierophant, the Ace of Cups. A lot of you a lot of you Taurus, sorry about that, I just did the Gemini reading. But a lot of you Taurus really do understand that people are not really what they seem to be at first, right? And that's really only a couple of people, right? Where they actually turn out to be way better than even what you originally thought. A lot of you Taurus understand, you're starting to understand through experience, right? That it's better off for you to be selective about the quality of the people in general that you're really find yourselves getting to know, because a lot of people will act like they're so great at first. And this is the reason why it is that I say that it's time for you, not just you, but everyone should essentially, right, when they first meet somebody, it should start off fairly normal, boring, because a lot of the times when the relationship usually starts off up here, right, very quickly, right, up here, somewhere up here, very high, very fast pace, right, it usually gets worse. I'm not saying always, but it usually gets worse over time. As to where the opposite is true. When it starts down here, it usually starts to get better over time, right? If both of those people know what they're doing. Because people who start off very fast paced, they'll try to make it seem like they're so much fun to be with, right? And get you caught up with the adrenaline and feeling good, and right? And then the next thing you know, over time, they show you they're not as great as you once thought when you first started to meet them, right? Or when you first met them. They're not as great as you once thought when they first told you those sweet nothings. So now you're in a situation where it's like, oh, you know, you really can't believe what's actually happening to you here. And the thing about it is that the Ace of Cups is about how you, Taurus, you realize that now, and you realize the value in being a little bit more selective. It's not necessarily always a good thing to just immediately pick someone, right? Yeah, you Taurus are lovers and all of that. You know, you love to love someone. You love to love other people. But a lot of you Taurus are really realizing that you got to learn to love yourself. Because the King of Swords and the Eight of Cups represent, because if you don't, you will have to walk away from a lot of other people that you never thought that you would be able, you never thought that you should have been able, to walk away from. Because right now what I'm seeing is that a lot of you Taurus are kind of going through a hard time dating. Yes, you're meeting people, you're talking to people, but not a lot of people are able to stick around, because immediately they're just showing you things that you need to really worry about. And it's just the preliminaries of a would-be relationship. It's early and they're already showing you problems. They're already showing you real problems that a lot of you Taurus are understanding that you're going to have to kind of dub them because this is not going to be really good long term. And the thing about it is that the High Priestess, right, and the Moon represents ghosting. So they may ghost you first, right, where y'all two hang out and you think that it may go great, and then they ghost, and then you Taurus are like, okay, fine, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, okay, right? If you want to ghost then. And then the Queen of Pentacles, they're playing, you're really being serious, meaning that here they come, right, trying to get in good with you again. You hear from them after a couple of days, right? Maybe even after a week, they're like, hey, out of the blue, just like that. But you Taurus don't actually say anything to them. You don't reply. And now the Ace of Wands, now they start to get upset. And now they start to make it seem like, oh, you Taurus are the ones that's fake. They thought that they thought that you Taurus was real, but you fake, trying to project the nonsense onto you as if they wasn't the one that ghosted first. So the Fool now represents you, Taurus, looking at it like you don't care because it's a week that you ain't hear from someone that's new. You really want to hear from the person every couple of days. I'm not saying let a week go by, but you could let like 2 or 3 days go by, but not a week, And this is what I mean when I say, if you haven't heard from your partner in like 2 weeks, if you haven't heard from the person that you're supposed to be getting to know romantically in like 2 weeks, and I mean 2 weeks straight, I mean, you haven't gotten any text messages, you may have text messaged the person ain't said anything to you in 2 weeks straight, like nothing, then the relationship is automatically over. It's null and void, because if that's a lot of time when you really look at it to say that y'all are in a relationship. That's half of a month you haven't spoken to the person. You understand what I'm saying? So you're not really building that relationship. You're not making sure that relationship is concrete. So a lot of you Taurus don't really care about that. You don't really care. So let's clarify some of these cards. Let's clarify the Ace of Wands. Them being all upset. The Six of Cups, Ten of Swords, Eight of Swords. Wow, the Sun. Wow. They're upset now, right? All 4 of these cards, they're upset over the fact that they ghosted you, right? And the Eight of Swords and the Sun, you beat them basically at their own game, because you're not trying to defeat them in their own game. You're playing your game. And what I mean by that is, again, if a person wants to take on this new age form of dating, this microwavable, y'all got to move in with each other 1 month after meeting each other cold on the street, I just see a lot of you Taurus not really being down with that, because y'all are essentially marching to the beat of your own drum, right? Because you Taurus, y'all operate slowly, right? Y'all are Taurus bulls. Only in times of panic and emergency is when y'all will go fast. But primarily, this is the thing that you Cancers and Capricorns have in common. Y'all will go slowly with somebody, and because you don't want to miss anything. And the Eight of Swords and the Sun represents, you want to make sure that the person that you were spending your time with was not crazy, and this person turned out to be exactly what it is that you had hoped they were not, which is crazy, right? So let's clarify the Fool. So you have the Knight of Cups, the Emperor, Ace of Wands, the Knight of Swords, right? You're moving on to somebody else. If people want to play like they want to ghost you and have you begging, that is played out. Like, that's not gonna happen. You Taurus this is you already offering your cup up to somebody else. Already. Like, people, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, the delusion of, well, we're going on my time. We're not going on anybody's time. We're going on both of our times. And if you don't want to be together, then it is what it is. I ain't holding you here. This ain't a hostage situation. Nobody is trying to get you to stay where you don't want to. But the Ace of Wands and the Knight of Swords represents, but they thought that they can come in and they can get everything on their time, on their dime, and they look stupid. Because the Knight of Swords represents, even when they come back, or even that when they came back, right? You Taurus told them, step off. I don't want to talk to you. And that really made them feel embarrassed, because they looked stupid, because the games that they were playing, here they are trying to make it seem like, they was bossing you around. Like, that type of person, right? Where they start to go crazy. You got to watch out for that type of person, right? That type of person, when you interact with them, and it just seems like y'all was cool at first, but then when you know you start showing them certain things, now it goes to their head. Yeah, you got to stay away from those type of people because it'll only get worse. But that's pretty much it. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share the video. Peace.